Very funny, man. Give it up for Neal Stastny, everybody. Give it up for Neal Stastny.
Thank you all so much. Here's one for Leo, everybody. Hell yeah. I grew up in Louisiana, and I am the only person in my family who doesn't still live in Louisiana. And that means that my mom likes to constantly stalk me over Facebook and the internet to find out what I'm up to. And she knows that I don't like it too much, but she's not too good at covering her tracks. A little while ago, I got an email saying that I got a comment on a YouTube video of mine. And I went and I read that comment, and I could definitely tell that it was written by my mom, and definitely written by accident, because the comment said, "Dear Mary Lee, sorry I missed you after church. Let's get lunch next week. Sincerely, Karen." My mom, Karen, tried to write an email to her friend Mary Lee Gibbons through the comment section of a YouTube video. And then I called my mom and be like, "Look, Mom, you can't just start typing all over the internet and just assume that it's going to know where you want it to go." Like my mom's mind, she's like, "Ooh, I can pay my bills online now, neat. I wonder where I do that. Well, I'm on Rotten Tomatoes now. What did I think of Monuments Men? Visa, 4862. But she really didn't understand that what she did was like, she was like, "It's close, right?" I'm like, "It's not close." I mean, I understand, physically, the motions, they're all very similar, but Mary Lee has as much a chance of getting that email as if you handwrote that letter, and you put that letter in an envelope, and you sealed it, and you addressed it, and you stamped it, and you walked outside with it, and very carefully put it in our pool, and then walked back inside and was like, "I hope Mary Lee falls in our pool randomly for some reason and gets that letter, because I am going to lunch, damn it." And she has been dodging me to go to a different church. How bored do you think Americans were in the 1800s, where they thought it was fun to keep retelling the story of Johnny Appleseed to each other? This guy, his last name is Appleseed, and he plants apple seeds every day, forever, until we still talk about this idiot. It's like, look, I understand that America is a young country, and we had to come up with our folk legends very quickly. But a lot of our folk legends suck. Like, you ever heard the story of John Henry? Do you know what I'm talking about? Alright, John Henry, if you don't know, is a guy who worked for the railroad company building railroad tracks, and then the railroad company got a machine that would build the railroad tracks instead. So they fired John Henry and all his buddies, and John Henry said, "That is garbage. I am better than that machine. I challenged that machine to a railroad track building contest." And so John Henry fought the machine. And John Henry beat the machine. And because he tried so hard, he died. That's it. That's the whole story. It is too sad. That is not a folk story that we should be telling each other. It's when you think about it, it's actually a folk story that robots should tell each other after they take over. It's much more of a robot's folk story. I mean, here's how that folk story should end. Yeah, even if a human beats one of us, they'll just die because they get that tired. Robots! That's how it's gonna end. I saw, I think, one of the meanest things I've ever seen one person do to another human being when I was in high school, naturally. I was 15 years old. I was at this party, and it was a great party. It was a bunch of kegs and a huge sound system set up in the backyard of this kid's house. And it's also one of those parties where, like, the parents are home. They know the kid's having it. They're cool parents, but the party got out of control. And so the dad got upset. He came outside, he unplugged the speakers, and he's like, "Everybody needs to get the hell out of here, or I'm calling the cops, and they'll come kick you out." And I am 15, I am drunk, and I am nervous, I don't want to get arrested. But then that problem solved itself when another kid at that party punched that dad in his face and knocked him out. One punch. He beat up a dad. in front of his son at his son's party. And I remember the look on the son's face. It was horrible. It was a look that said, I think that's my new dad now. I'm sure that's what happens. And I don't know what happened next because I got out of there, because if a dad's getting beaten in front of his child, it's time to go. But I feel bad because it's not, obviously it's not the dad's fault that he got beat up, because, he didn't know a fight was coming and it was a cheap shot. But it's still embarrassing for the dad, right? Like he's definitely got to lie to his friends about how he got that black eye. Because he can't be like, oh, how did I get this black eye? I was trying to maintain a position of authority over my family and property. And then a kid hit me once. And he's moved in, obviously. He's tough but fair. He runs a tight ship. You learn a lot from him. I went to an opera for the first time recently. And everybody ever been to an opera before? Yeah, wow, that's a lot of people. And you sound like you liked it more than I did. It was not good for me. I didn't want to go, and my girlfriend knew that I didn't want to go. And so to get me to go, she was like, well, look, if you go to this opera, when we get home, later on, we could do like a little, like something like extra, like that we don't, like something new that we don't normally. And if you don't understand what she was saying, basically what she was saying was that she was willing to perform some sort of sex act that we don't usually get to do in exchange for my time at the opera. That's the deal. And now, that sounds like a nice deal, except I really only like normal sex stuff. And I don't mean to brag, but I'm already having normal sex with my girlfriend. So I realized I've got to get some sort of fetish, because as it is, I'm just going to the opera and then having normal sex like some kind of sucker. But it's hard, right? Because what I gotta do is I gotta pick something, that she doesn't really like, but is willing to do, and I've got to really like it, Like, I don't really want to go to the opera, but I'm willing to do it, and she really wants to go. And so I told my friend about this, and immediately my friend was like, dude, you should do anal. And I was like, I don't think you understand the dynamic here, because I don't really want to do anal. I have no real interest in it, and neither does she. So it doesn't, like, that way. If I picked anal, then it'd just be two people begrudgingly having anal sex. It sounds like the worst time in the world. And then he thought about it for a minute. He paused, and then he was like, but she said she'd do it, basically, so you should probably just do it. And, these anal guys, they don't understand reason. So I went to another buddy, and I was like, what do I do, And he was like, well, what about role-playing? And I don't want to do that either. I think I'd rather the weird anal stuff. Because who am I? I've never once been having sex with a woman and thought to myself, my God, this is great. If only I had to also worry about acting. It's so hard. I'm just a bad actor. I don't know. I just be like, okay, I'm a doctor. Hello. I guess you would have made the appointment, so you know that. I got your test results back. You're really horny. So it's no big deal, really. It's actually very treatable, All you really gotta do is just have normal sex. Need a bunch of weird bells or whistles or whatever. But so, anyway, I'm sexually satisfied, but I still want to use this bargain. So I think I've got it figured out. There's no, sex act that will fit the bill there. What I gotta do is I gotta pick one of those fetishes that's really bizarre, so bizarre that as far as I can tell, there's those fetishes where I don't even think actual sex even happens. I gotta pick one of those, because that way my girlfriend, she's not gonna want to do it. It's gonna be weird, but I don't actually have to do anything. So I think I figured it out. Next time, she wants to go to the opera, I'll be like, all right, look, I'll go to the opera. But you know the deal. When we get home, You gotta sit on a cake. Listen, do I think that my girlfriend sitting on a cake is arousing? No. Do I think that my girlfriend sitting on a cake is hilarious? Absolutely. But if I gotta sit through a 4-hour-long, pretentious piece of shit opera, you better believe I'm gonna come home and watch something simple and hilarious, like my girlfriend sitting on a goddamn tiramisu. And I think she'll probably be confused because, you know, she'll be like, you're not getting an erection. I'll just be like, baby, it's beyond erections. It's cake stuff.